Sardar Udham is a biopic that released in 2021 and details the true story of Indian revolutionary Udham Singh, who is haunted by the carnage of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre of 1919 at the hands of the British. Udham spends the next 21 years of his life associating with radical organizations like the HSRA and Ghadar Party in an effort to free India from British occupation. But one fateful day in 1940, Udham walks into Caxton Hall and assassinates Michael O'Dwyer, the man responsible for the massacre. Udham Singh instantly becomes a symbol of revolution and freedom for the people of India. One of the main reasons I was interested in this movie was the fact that it portrayed such a controversial person. To the people of India, he was a revolutionary who helped bring about their independence. To the British people, he was a violent terrorist who assassinated one of their own in cold blood. It's no secret that Udham held fast to Marxist ideology and was heavily influenced by revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh. So in making a movie about Udham's life, it was inevitable that it would come with the baggage of politically charged sentiments. Does the film support Udham's choices? Does the film condemn them? Thankfully, I think the director Shoojit Sircar understood that the answer had to be somewhere in the middle. In an interview, he stated, quote, "The line between a terrorist and a revolutionary is very thin. For them, the British, he was possibly a criminal or a terrorist. But for us, he was revolutionary. So I left that judgment for people to make on their own." End quote. Now, I'm certainly no fan of socialism or communism, as I think that they are evil ideologies that have led to some of the most murderous events in human history. So, of course, I was a little skeptical going into this movie about a radical revolutionary using violence to effect political change. But on the other hand, I never want to be someone who refuses to walk in someone else's shoes and see an issue from a different perspective than my own, even if I don't agree with it. So I temporarily put aside my biases and did my best to understand where Udham Singh was coming from. And this is what I found. I believe that Udham was so disgusted by the murder of innocent men, women, and children at the massacre of Jallianwala Bagh that he would have latched onto any ideology if it meant the liberation of India from the British. I'm sure he believed in socialism, but I think ultimately he cared far more for India's independence. Working with the Ghadar Party and the HSRA was a means to an end for a desperate man who just wanted to stop the oppression of his people. Now, I don't want to construe my analysis as support for his actions. I'm not British or Indian, and these events happened 100 years ago. So you could say I don't necessarily have a dog in this fight. I'm also no expert on this, and I could be completely ignorant to the larger context. But I believe the film is sufficiently nuanced even if it tends to lean more towards portraying Udham as a hero. After seeing movies like RRR and Bahubali, which excel at colorful visuals and over-the-top action, I wanted to change it up and experience a more grounded and realistic Indian film. And out of all the recommendations, Sardar Udham was at the very top. And having watched it, I can certainly see why. This film boasts an astonishing production value in everything from the sets, costumes, and acting, which completely immerses you in this time period. The writing is incredibly well done, as none of the lines feel cheesy or out of place, but that's also helped by the superb acting by the whole cast, especially that of Vicky Kaushal, who plays Udham Singh. Sardar Udham is a masterful movie on a technical level, but it does deal with some very serious subject matter, and it's not for the faint of heart. The last hour of this film is really where everything comes together, and it shifts from good to amazing. Udham Singh is remembering the events of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre of 1919, in which British troops opened fire without warning on a large group of peaceful Indian protesters, killing hundreds of men, women, and children, and wounding much more. This whole scene is nothing short of horrific and truly painful to watch. I couldn't help but tear up at the senseless violence that the film shows in graphic detail. This might be one of the most disturbing scenes in any movie I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot of messed up stuff in movies. But what's even more brutal is they not only show you the shooting of these people, but the aftermath of hundreds lying on the ground, some dead but many others still alive and screaming from the injuries they sustained. Nothing can ever truly recapture the horror of what it was like to be there, but the film certainly scratches the surface of that feeling. It also is essential to show the carnage in this film, as it makes you empathize with Udham and why he felt murder was the only punishment suitable for these horrible crimes. Although I quite enjoyed this movie, it does have some flaws. I know it's sort of a trend in Indian cinema to make almost 3-hour movies, But for Sardar Udham, I do think it would have benefited from a shorter runtime as some of the parts of the first hour dragged quite a bit. Also, the first 30 minutes jumps back and forth between different times in Udham's life way too often, which led to the narrative feeling a bit meandering. I felt the real hook of the film was Udham assassinating Michael O'Dwyer at around the 30-minute mark, and it would have been a more compelling beginning to the story to rein in the viewer's attention right away. My last issue with the film is that after doing some research, I found that there are some major historical inaccuracies, but to the film's credit, at the beginning they acknowledge that there have been creative changes made, and the film is purely for entertainment purposes. Sardar Udham is an intelligent and nuanced take on the real-life story of Udham Singh. This is a film that shows the horrors of history, but also the courage of a man who sacrificed his life for the country and people he loved. You may not agree with his methods, but I think that we can agree that what Udham Singh fought for more than anything else was freedom, the universal yearning of mankind.